how to separate InsurTech wheat from chaff, because there are a lot of InsurTech startups out there. Let's get back to the topic, how to separate InsurTechs. And I structured this lecture into 3 parts. And these are based on 3 typical questions I get and I try to answer. So the first question is, why should an insurance company work with startups, and especially with InsurTech startups? Why should they work with them? So the answer, I will give you 5 reasons why it's useful and valuable to cooperate between incumbent insurers and InsurTech startups. The second part is also an underlying question. The second part is about what can I do to separate InsurTech startups and to find very good startups. There are some ways, I will show you how to find good startups, but I wouldn't do them. You will see this is a hard way. I did it the hard way, and some of you, maybe my colleague over there, is also doing it the hard way. So these are typical ways how to do it hard way. And the third part is the main part. This is the most fun part. Is I will show you how to work smart, how to pick smart InsurTech startups and have most fun with it, because it's there's some fun inside. So these are the 3 parts of my lecture, and let's get to the first part. It's about why should incumbent insurers work with InsurTech startups. Okay, so an incumbent insurance company has typically 5 key figures, 5 key performance indicators, which serve as a decision-making indicator. So in an insurance company, here we go. So we have 5 key figures which decisions are typically based on. On the left side you see it as an illustration. I have the revenue, so these are premium income. Then I subtract the cost of claims, I subtract the distribution costs, and I subtract the cost of administration. And what's left over is a profit. Sure, most business guys from you know this, but it's no secret. But actually it's really the thinking inside of a big insurance company, because it's simple. And for each of these 5 key figures, you have a head of claims, you have a head of distribution, the sales chief, you have a revenue, this is the chief sales officer, and for the profit is the chief financial officer or CEO itself. So these are 5 very important decision-making indicators. And to answer the question, why should an insurance company work with InsurTech startups? Well, it's very simple, because each of these 5 KPIs can be altered. It can be increased or decreased. And InsurTech startups can help us as an incumbent insurance company to move the KPI in a positive way. Of course, there's for each indicator always one way to move. We need more revenue, this will increase the profit, and we have to decrease the cost of claims, distribution and administration, which will also increase the profit. So from my idea here, please take the information and the lessons learned that these 5 indicators are 5 reasons for you to work with InsurTech startups if you're in corporation, or vice versa. If you're in startup, I would pitch one of these key performance indicators and identify the decision maker who is the head of claims or administration costs, whatever. Okay, so now you have 5 reasons why you should work with startups. And on the right side, there's just a small illustration from only the German InsurTech startups. So around, didn't count, and maybe 40 to 60. So as I got introduced also as a mentor and a former startup scout, I'm just one man and I have a team maybe of 3 to 5 people. I can't work with 60 of all of them. That's not possible. I have to make a decision what startup I should work with. So how do I do it? This brings us to the second question. What options do I have to pick a startup to work with? Okay. I tell you don't do this, but I will show you what not to do. So there are here 3 hard ways how to pick a startup. So the first one is by random chance. Okay, just take the startup that's in front of you. We had a pitch day, there were 3 startups, I picked 3, I can work with 3 startups at once, and then I just work with the 3 startups. No background check, no fact checking if they can deliver, no, it's random, just random. Okay, second thing I wouldn't do anymore, just to rephrase it, is by HIPPO. HIPPO stands for highest paid person's opinion. And this means you pick the startup that your boss likes. He said, hey, I like these guys. Then, hey, okay, we will work with them. Also, no checking if they can deliver what they promise. But at the end, it's not your fault because the boss picked it. It's good for you, but not good for the company. Okay, and the third strategy to select startups is by gut feeling. It's like a bet. I have a good feeling about these guys, maybe it's a nice woman there, let's have some further engagement and then let's work with them. Also, I wouldn't do it anymore. So let me rephrase, these are the 3 hard ways how to do it, and if you select startups by these strategies, you will most likely end like this guy. And he's not a very happy guy. He's a frustrated insurance innovator, which I have been too. And so, see, don't do it. Then maybe you can have more hair like I have now. Okay, so this is a little fun fact here. But these 3 strategies are really applied in the industry, and so. These were the hard ways. So, how to do it the smart way? There are other more fun ways, smart ways, how to select InsurTech startups and how to separate the wheat from the chaff. Well, these are 3 steps how you can identify and pick InsurTech startups and ensure that they deliver what they promise. These 3 steps. It's not easy, it's not simple, but it's successful. So this is the overview. Let me just go brief to the overview. Step 1, choose InsurTech startups with the right fit. And then you can focus your resources on a few InsurTech startups that fit your company, your abilities and your strategy. We will go in detail after this slide. Step number 2, match InsurTech startups to a proper use case. When you want to work with an InsurTech startup, you should make a workshop and identify where you can put this new skills, this new technology, where you can apply best in your corporation. I have another slide for that. And if you successfully manage step 2, you can go over to step 3, prove the business value, before you invest more money and before you scale. So make a first small tests and checks and POCs, prototypes, whatever, before you get to the big money pile and start to scale. Okay, these are the 3 steps, so let's get over to step number 1. This template shows you a way how to separate InsurTech startups into 2 different groups. On the left side you find the improvers, and on the right side are inventors. Let me go first to the improvers. Improvers are startups that, of course, improves the insurance company and the insurance vertical. Why? Because they take the insurance vertical and the way how insurance is done as it is. They accept the way how we as an old company are doing insurance, take it and apply their technology, their skills on top of it. So it's a status quo. And these improvers, of course they have value for us, can be divided into 3 types. So the first type are distributors. These are sales organizations, sales platforms. I have here, these are examples I worked with. For example, this is the startup Messap from around the corner. Messap has a plug-and-play API, and we can sell our bike, an e-bike insurance product, over this API to different sales organizations. So we worked here with MLP, for example. So we weren't able to, with our legacy systems, with our COBOL systems, to plug to MLP directly. So we had a distributing improver that made us, enabled us as an insurance company to sell our small products. Okay, second type is our enablers. They enable our organization to do things that we haven't been able to do up to now. Here I have the example of Picture. Picture identifies, takes an image and can tell us how the integrity of the image. Is this image correct, or has it been changed or modified? So this is an enabler. We could use this skill, for example. And the third type of improvers are neo carriers, formerly known as full-stack digital carriers. So at Baloise, we made a very big investment into a new insurance company called Friday. When you're from Germany, you may have seen the advertisement. We started with motor insurance and now have our second business line. It's household insurance, and we will go on. And this is a separate entity, own full-stack digital carrier or neo carrier. Straight from the start, new machines, based on Guidewire. Okay, these are improvers. The right side are inventors. This is more visionary. Inventors don't take the industry as it is. They take a look at the insurance industry, how the business is done today. They identify the principles and they re-elevate the principles of insurance. And often they come to a different conclusion and they say, no, Karl-Heinz, how you are doing insurance is not the good way. We have another way that's better. We have, on the right side, different business models. Here's an example of Laker Insurance. They sell an ordinary bike insurance, but on a completely different kind of business model. The cash flow is absolutely different from what the traditional insurance industry is doing. If you want to take a look at some very cool ideas, you can check out Laker. And also Islamic insurance is working also on a different kind of business model. It's also very interesting. So Islamic insurance or Takaful insurance is also on a different kind of business model. Okay, and then we have another type of inventors. These are conquerors of new market. For example, here's the Flock example. They offer drone insurance, and for commercial drone pilots, it's a new market. They have it on location, geo-specific, on time, as long as you want, whatever. So it's a new market that is served with a new company. So, choose InsurTech with the right fit. Lessons learned is here. For my example, at Basler, Germany, we want to do what we have ever done, only better. So I would stay on the left side, and I would pick, for example, an enabler who enables me to do things better, faster, and create value. For the startups guys and the investors around here, if you want to change the world, go to the right side. These are new kind of business models with very big potential, and I avoid the term disruptive, I just say it one time, so it's more on the right side. So you have to think about where you want to develop yourself, and then you can identify the InsurTech startups and match them with your fit. And that's a very important thing, because you at the end of the day you have to choose, and this is the first step to choose. I'll show you here one example. We worked with Picture. We identified him from our side as an enabler. Check image integrity. I give the company or the startup an image, and they tell me if it's true or false. We'll carry on this example. Okay, this is one example of what we have done. Step number 2. So, step number 2 says, take the startup and match it to a proper use case. This is this workshop thing I explained to you, or I told you. So, how do I create a cool use case, a valuable use case with a startup that I don't know, while I do a workshop, and then I take the value chain tool. So this is a very old school classical management tool, the value chain. What is a value chain? Well, a value chain is a set of activities I noted here that creates value for the customer. As an insurance company, my customer is a policyholder who pays the premium of the policy. And I listed here some typical activities of an insurance company. These are core activities. Of course, we do other things. But here, for example, we have asset and risk management, and in the middle we have claims management. Also here we have again picture, and so the question is, how do I create a use case? Let me give you an example with picture. Picture can identify inside of pictures they can validate images that I as an insurer send them by checking the time taken, the date taken, which day has it been taken, and where has it been taken, because there's a location, geolocation stored inside of the image. So they can extract this data for me and give me some first indications. Has this picture been manipulated? Because in the picture is also stored if it's been modified after it has been created or taken. So then they send me the data, and I can check this data with the occurrence of the claim, what the policyholder told me, because I have it in my data system. Just simple matching. And if I have deviations, for example, okay, guy, this picture was taken in Hamburg, not in Frankfurt, then I may have found some fraud. And if I have found some fraud, I don't have to pay, reduce claims ratio. And if I don't have to pay, I save money, that increases my profit. So this would be one very interesting use case to work with picture. With this skill, because they came to us and said, I can give you the integrity of a picture, and the use case is the application inside of my value chain. It's always kind of a process, description of a process. And also including IT resources, of course. So this is an example of a proper use case. We gave it a try. So, okay, one more step to ensure that the InsurTech startup can deliver what they promise. Step number 3 is prove the business value. So now I have the enabler, I picked the startup, I have new skills, I can check images. So then I have the use case, I know how to identify fraud and how to save money. It's theory. Intelligent people, but it's theory. So now in step 3 I have to prove that it's working and I can save money for this example. Or I have to prove the business value. And here I come back to the 5 decisions, or the 5 KPIs where decisions are typically based on. So just in ballpark figures, but it's just around in this ratios. On the right side, in the value chain table, on the right side, you can see that revenue is a quota of 100%, of course. Then cost of claims are typically around 50%. It depends on the line of business. Just one example. Then cost of distribution are typically also around 20%. Also the cost of administration, let's put it by 20%, what equals into a profit of 10%. So this is just basic value table. And then I have to, how do I prove the business value? Well, I take the startup and the use case and execute a POC or a prototype or whatever, a test, an experiment, and try to create some real-world data. So I forgot to write it down here. You create real-world statistical data from how many, maybe 100,000 images, how many were manipulated, and then how many were matched against the data that the customer told us, and how many were real frauds. And then you have real-world data. No gut feeling, no random, no hippo. It's real-world data. And then you can take that data, and then you can put it into the table on the right side, because before I had a claims ratio of 50%, and maybe the data will tell me, okay, Karl-Heinz, with this new skill, you enabled the company to save 1 percentage point of claims ratio. And this would make the head of claims very happy, because 1% is a lot for him. And in the same time, this 1 percentage point will add to the profit to 11%. This will make your CFO and your CEO also very happy, because also one example in euros, let's assume the revenue of the business line is 1 billion euros, then 1 percentage point that is transferred here is 10 million euros. So if you have a business line of 1 billion euros, 1 percentage point would be 10 million euros. And I think all of you know that applying a simple image check doesn't cost 10 million euros. So this would be a very valuable business case to prove. So and then you can figure out your figures and your data and whatever. So this is third step. Okay, let's summarize it. I hope it was not too fast. So these are the 3 steps to ensure InsurTech startups deliver what they promise. And in this context, how to separate the wheat from the chaff. We had step number 1. You should choose the right startup to work with the right fit. I showed you this template how to divide InsurTech startups into 2 groups. The one group are improvers and the second group are inventors. And below that you have 5 different types of InsurTech startups. So if you begin your journey of improving your business with corporations of InsurTech startups, I would pick one of these categories. So maybe the low-hanging fruit would be enablers or distributors. Yeah? Because that's the thing you are most common to. And then I would pick 1, 2, 3 startups and try to work on these topics with a dedicated team. So these are the improvers. And the inventors on the right side, you go into new markets like drone insurance, like shared economy, gig economy, whatever. And these are the inventors, and maybe also a new kind of business model. But this is a very sophisticated stuff. You need people that are really at home in the insurance company to understand what's going on there. Because I forgot to mention, it's always a team sport. It's not me alone. It's always a team. You need a team of business analysts. You need a team of executives to say, yes, Karl-Heinz is cool. He can do whatever he wants. You need good lawyers in the compliance that they say, okay, we can make an exception, because it's always an exception what I'm doing here, or what we are doing with insurance and innovation. And of course, you need a lot of IT guys and sales guys and political and Betriebsrat and whatever. Okay. Step number 2, you take the idea of this startup as a skill, you match it to an activity inside of your value chain, and try to create a use case. It's a process, it's a description of a process that creates additional value for your company. So that would be easy words. Typically it consists of 1, 2 or 3 workshops from 1 or 2 hours, and then you have a set of use cases, and then you pick the use cases most executable for your business. And then step number 3, prove the business value. I chose here these 5 financial key performance indicators. As I've shown you in this value table, it's the most easy thing to show an executive, okay, you need more money, because I can bring you more money than you give me. But maybe other companies have other performance measurements, like net promoter score, efficiency, customer happiness, whatever. Then you can create another metric to make good decisions on it. So these are the 3 steps, and maybe have we got some time for some questions?
Yes.